We all know by now that when Taylor Swift decides to put an experience in a song, she goes hard, and man, she went hard on Jake Gyllenhaal with the re-release of her album Red in November 2021. So what did she reveal about the infamous relationship, and how did Jake really use her? We have all the juicy details. Swifties were more than overjoyed when Taylor finally released Red Taylor's version as part of her ongoing effort to regain control over her work. And they were also more intrigued when Taylor brought up more details from her past, especially her relationship with Jake. For years, fans have always assumed that the song All Too Well from the album, which tells the story of a breakup, was about Taylor's whirlwind short-lived romance with Jake. When Taylor and Jake broke up, reports claim that Jake was the one who called off the relationship and that it happened quite suddenly, which is probably why she wrote the song about the breakup. Well, Taylor included a 10-minute special of the song in the re-release of Red, and the version of the song has new lyrics, which spills some major tea about the relationship. First of all, without mentioning any names, Taylor sings about being heartbroken on her 21st birthday, which happens to be around the time she was in a relationship with Jake. Taylor included these new lyrics in the release, but then he watched me watch the front door all night, willing you to come, and he said it's supposed to be fun turning 21. So the first thing that Swifties picked from the song was the fact that Jake never showed up for Taylor's 21st birthday. According to fans, the fact that she wrote about it so painfully meant that Jake was supposedly to show up, but stood her up. Wow. That must have been heartbreaking. There's also an inclusion of the reason why Tay and Jake broke up, and according to some more new lyrics, it had a lot to do with the age difference. For reference, at the time they were together, Tay was 20, turning 21, while Jake was almost 30. Of course, the song couldn't be complete without a bit of a dig, as Taylor also throws a bit of shade and pointed the hypocrisy of age being a factor in the breakup when she sang that I was never good at telling jokes, but the punchline goes, I'll get over, but your lovers stay my age. The hypocrisy lies in the fact that Jake is dating model Jean, who is 25. That really caught the attention of many with one writing. Jake Gyllenhaal broke up with Taylor Swift because he said the age gap was too big. And she really wrote, I get older, but your lovers stay my age. Others felt that the age gap wasn't really an issue, but the problem was how Jake used that as an excuse, like one fan noting, I feel like the problem isn't the age gap itself, it's how Jake used the age gap to make Taylor insecure and manipulate her. And to make matters even more interesting, Taylor also launched a 14-minute short film starring Sadie Sink and Dylan O'Brien, written and directed by her, and in it she revealed more about the relationship with Jake. The film was definitely about the relationship because, other than the fact that Dylan bears a canny resemblance to Jake, the very peculiar wardrobe he wears throughout the film gives Jake serious vibes. He's seen sporting plaid shirts and beanies, both staples of Jake's wardrobe. Okay, now moving on to what Taylor had to go through based on the film. For starters, one of the opening scenes shows Sadie presumably portraying a younger version of Taylor, entering her partner's house and placing her red-colored scarf on the stair railing. The first chapter in the story, titled An Upstate Escape, also shows a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, and eagle-eyed fans noted that Jake happens to have a similar car. Some scenes also mirror a similar scene in Jake's 2010 movie Love and Other Drugs, which came out around the same time he dated Tay. So not a coincidence, and that age difference between Sadie and Dylan, that definitely was a reference to Taylor and Jake's age. The gap between Dylan and Sadie is exactly 10 years, which is the difference between Taylor and Jake's age. The film then depicts what Taylor went through when at a dinner table, Dylan's character was talking with his older friends as Sadie awkwardly sat with no one to talk to. According to fans, Taylor was trying to reflect how left out she felt every time she hung out with Jake and his friends, and he didn't even care. Also, while everyone else was driving and having a good time, Sadie's character's wine glass was full, because, Taylor was only 20 when she dated Jake and couldn't legally drink. drink. In that scene, Taylor also revealed how Jake never appreciated her, or was it how he was embarrassed by her? We don't know for sure, but when Sadie tried to hold Dylan's hand, he pushed it away, and in an argument after dinner, Dylan said that he didn't remember dropping the hand.
Please, you're the only one that makes me feel
about you.
Look at me.
I'm catching up with friends. You're literally saying I dropped your hand. Like, what? I don't even remember the moment that you're talking about.
Yeah, just wow. Also, as Sadie cleans up after dinner, Dylan hands her more dirty dishes instead of helping, and fans said that it proved Jake's unwillingness to clean up the metaphorical messes in their relationship when they were together. The film also had the famous dancing around the kitchen and the refrigerator. Light and fans also picked up a couple of details from that. Okay, if you look closely, you'll notice the contrast between the blue light of the refrigerator behind Dylan and the golden hue of the morning sun from the kitchen window behind Sadie. Fans interpreted that to mean that the blue light was a reflection of Jake's coldness and how he was beginning to fall out of love with Taylor, while Taylor was still radiating the warmth of her love for him. There's also a post-breakup identity crisis towards the end of the film, which possibly points to the fact that Jake is permanently damaged Taylor. Some people also pointed out that with everything Taylor put into the album and the film after dating for just 3 months, the pain must have been extremely excruciating. Some said that she felt used and manipulated, while others even suggested that Taylor found out as she grew older that Jake was possibly grooming her. Like one person wrote, "I did not realize Jake was 30 when he dated 20-year-old Taylor Swift, and yet she was the one who was smeared for being a love, crazed, obsessive weirdo instead of seeing him as a creep. And if you thought Taylor has spilled in just one song, you're terribly mistaken." Another song that gives the details of how Jake really messed up Taylor is "The Moment I Knew." Taylor previously spoke about the story behind "The Moment I Knew," saying it was a song about her 21st birthday, which was apparently the worst experience ever. In the song, Taylor sings about waiting for the one who means the most to her to show up at the party, but when it becomes clear that they're not going to turn up, she realizes that the relationship is over and we're never getting back together. That song originally had some pretty obvious references to Jake, especially since there's an apple in a jar on top of the TV referencing their rumored apple picking date, and the guy in the video gives Taylor his scarf, which was also a reference to All Too Well. Taylor also included the lyrics "indie record that's much cooler than mine" as a possible reference to Jake and his music taste. And she previously spoke to USA Today about how she added the line about the ex who had made her feel like she wasn't as good or as relevant as the hipster bands he listened to. From that, fans picked up that instead of cheering Taylor on when they were dating Jake, was more invested in letting her know that he didn't like her music. Yikes, boyfriend of the year right there? So yeah, Taylor may not have directly mentioned Jake, but fans said that all the references from the songs and the short film prove that she felt completely used and manipulated. Plus, there have also been claims that Taylor lost her virginity to Jake and broke up with her soon after, and that should also explain the excruciating breakup. So what are your thoughts though? Do you believe that Jake used Taylor when they were together? Was it just their age difference? Let us know in the comments section below.